All right, what's good, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. My name's Kevin, and this is SmellGoodz. Appreciate you coming through. Appreciate you hanging out as we are in March Madness, and this is my March Madness series, 64 fragrance battle royal. I've put them all in a playlist, but if you need to go back and watch the selection show, I've got it linked up here. We're gonna do group 1 and group 2. So we're gonna do a total of, 16 head-to-head battles between fragrances that were AI selected. So I had no choice in which fragrance went up against which. This is completely AI, just simply spit out of my collection, gave me 64 fragrances. And of those 64 fragrances, it broke them into 4 groups of 16 each, and then gave me head-to-head, 8 head-to-heads in each group. So this video is all about group 1 and group 2. So we're gonna have 16 head-to-head. Now, what we're going to base this off of, and I was thinking, okay, I've got to have some kind of parameters for it, right? I wanted to, so what I'm thinking is, and how I'm operating this is, one, just the overall smell. Does it smell good? Does it smell great? What have you, one versus the other. The other thing is performance. So I'm thinking about things as far as longevity. I'm thinking about things as long as sillage, projection, all those fun things. And then the third thing that I'm looking at, or the third factor that I'm looking at, is that if it is a mainstream scent or a mass appeal scent, is it a really worthy mass appeal scent? Comparing that. But then also I'm looking at if it's a unique DNA. So if it's a unique DNA, is it enough of a unique DNA that causes it to outweigh the other one? So that's kind of what I'm thinking through. And some of this, I'll just be honest, these are my opinions. This is my thoughts. Some of them might be just what I'm feeling at that particular moment. Doesn't mean the other one is trash. It just means the other one kind of went out. So we decided, I decided to do this kind of in the mode of March Madness. So that's what we're in as far as basketball. And it gives me a great way to, one, deliver some content to you all, but also to just kind of have some fun with what, if we were going to do this, what would be the #1 fragrance in my collection, putting them head to head, not knowing what kind of path they take to get to the championship, but we're going to document that. So again, this is group 1, group 2. I'm going to put up the matchups so that you can see for group 1. Then when I move over to group 2, we'll put the matchups there. So here's the matchup for group 1. For group 1, we've got Afnan 9 PM Revel versus Kim Gold. In fact, I'm not going to read them to you. You guys can see them up there, but I will refresh as we do the matchups. All right. So let's get rolling. Let's get started. Tap in, and let's have some fun with this. All right. First one up is Alkiem Gold from Lattafa versus Afnan's 9 PM Rebel. All right. So 9 PM Rebel came out to a lot of buzz, middle to end of last year, in that 9 PM line. As far as projection, as far as sillage, as far as all those things, it does a really good job, just like most 9 PMs that I've gotten will do. As far as the Alkiem Gold, and it does smell like something else. It smells to me like Qaed Al Farsan. It also smells kind of like a cross up between Creed Aventus and a Baccarat Rouge, kind of in that vein. Okay. Going up against Lattafa's Alkiem Gold, this one is more of a take, in my opinion, on Ombre Nomad from Louis Vuitton. So it is this darker, kind of oudy, fruity type of a fragrance that does very well as far as projection, as far as longevity, as far as sillage, as far as all those things. So head to head, putting these up against each other, I'm going to go with Alkiem Gold. For me, as far as my scent profile, this definitely is kind of where I like to be sometimes. I do like those darker scents. I do like those spicier scents sometimes. And it just works well for me. It is, in fact, it replaced something else that I had in my collection that was also doing a take on Ombre Nomad. And so this right now, if I'm putting them head to head, this is the first winner of a head to head. All right, so we'll put that over there. And I'll recap them, of course, before we end this. And then the next competition, the next one up is going to be Al Hermain's Amber Oud Carbon Edition. This is their take on Basically, it's like green Irish tweed. There's even some cool water kind of vibes in this. Good projection. Most of the stuff that I've had works very well as far as projection, as far as sillage, as far as longevity. Going up against, from the house of Mancera, black gold. So with this, you've got lavender, you've got a leather dry down, you've got some oudiness in this. This to me, if I'm going to put the two up against each other, this is a blowout right here. Mancera Black Gold is it's one of my number one of my top as far as from the house of Mancera. This is a fragrance that definitely is in my rotation. Definitely a fragrance that I absolutely love and adore. And so this is going to win in its head-to-head against Carbon Edition. Not saying that this is bad, just when it comes up against this, it's like top level D1 going up against 8th grade. Just this wins hands down for me. All right, so that's the second one that we have as far as our matchups. The next matchup in our group 1 is going to be from the house of Mont Blanc. This is Legend Night, which in my opinion does kind of a take on Armani Cold. That's kind of the vibe that it gives me. So decent projection, decent longevity. This one for me is, I'll just let you know, it is a sentimental one. This is one of the ones that I've had in my collection off and on for a number of times, and one that I absolutely like. But it is going up against, from Armaf Club de Nuit Sillage, which is their take on Silver Mountain Water. So comparing these two, if you can get past, for me, this, when it first sometimes sprays, it comes off a little very metallic in some respects. But once you get past that, get into the dry down, get into everything it's supposed to be, it does a phenomenal job. You can get past that. This is a squeaker in my opinion, just because, again, sentimentally, this one is where I would go. But just if I'm comparing the two 1-to-1, I'm gonna have to give it to the Armaf Club de Nuit Sillage. So in this head-to-head, Sillage is the winner on that one. Not by a lot, but definitely is a winner between those two. All right, next one up. So next one up is Polo Black. Mango, sandalwood. I think there's some tangerine in this as well. Polo Black up against, in my opinion, one of the Fragcom kind of classics that's kind of been laying around here, Bentley Intense. You've got some, I forget if I want to say it's rum or whiskey, but got that in here. Just a nice manly scent. If I'm going to go as far as projection, this one doesn't really do a whole lot for me. This doesn't project a whole lot. It's decent. Both of these are, I would just to give them, they're both average performers. As far as the scent profile, I prefer this scent profile anyway. This scent profile, the Polo Black, to me, that mango just comes off a little off. It's not really a nice sweet mango. It's almost kind of fermented in some respects is what it comes off to me. That's just me. So between the two, Bentley Intense is going to be our winner of that matchup. All right. Let me get all of my winners all on one side. All right, next one up, our next matchup is going to be from the house of Paris Corner. This is Rifficot. And this is their take on YSL Baby Cat. You've got on this one, you've got the, what is it? You've got pink pepper in here. You've got black pepper. You've got the saffron. Does a pretty nice job of doing its take on Baby Cat versus Coach Open Road. Coach Open Road. For me, looking at these two, I'm going to go more with the Rifficot. This is a good just gym scent. This is a good running errands. Not really a long lasting. It's a nice fresh scent. Don't get me wrong. It's a nice fresh scent. Works very well in those type of environments, those type of things as far as running to the store, getting groceries, going to the mailbox, whatever it may be. This is that kind of fragrance as a gym scent, all those things. This is what this would be good for. This is more, in my opinion, more applicable for a variety of situations. Definitely for your date night, definitely for those intentional evenings that you might have out. So in a head-to-head between these two, Rifficott is our winner, and our clear winner in that one. All right. That's that. Next one up, as far as our next one is going to be Shagaf Oud Aswad from Swiss Arabian, up against, from the House of Fragrance World, Oud Madness. Settle there, Oud Madness. There's some rolls. I forget what the other things are in here, but there's some rolls in this. This is just a nice, it's a nice linear scent. It can be nice for an evening out. Not an overly intentional evening, but it is nice for an evening out, versus their take on Oud Madness, which is their take on Oud Maracuja. You can even tell the bottle design is very similar to Oud Maracuja. Battle of these two, I'm going to go with the Oud Madness, just because this scent profile is unique enough. It is special enough, in my opinion, that really outweighs this. This is decent. This is special as far as just how they did the, basically what it's doing is takeoff, as well as how well they do it. Very much on point with what I've smelled as far as Oud Maracuja, and does a great job of presentation, great job of performance, and the scent profile definitely, in my opinion, is unique enough that makes this the winner between these two. So for this matchup, we have Oud Madness from Fragrance World. All right, next one up is one that pits two of my favorites. I like these both for a variety of reasons, but one, just the freshness of one versus the intentionality of the other. This matchup is going to be John Varvatos Artisan versus Mercedes-Benz Club Black. Club Black. See that there? So this just nice, fresh scent. That Artisan line from John Varvatos just has some very nice fragrances. I've got Artisan Blue back there. I think there's Artisan Pure also, which is another nice one. Just a nice, clean, almost soapy type of a scent with this. Going up against Club Black, which some have compared to Altair. It's not, it's in the space as far as being a nice, potent vanilla fragrance, but I wouldn't call this an Altair clone. In the space, yes. Similar DNA, yes. But as far as between these two, like them both, but Club Black's gonna win, just because it does come off as far as the longevity, as far as the projection, as far as the things that go along with that we would look for in a fragrance. This is it. Plus, there's lots of things that this can kind of compare with, as far as the cleanliness, the soapiness of it. This is a little different, a little more outstanding, just as far as a scent profile. So of this one, this battle, Club Black is our winner here. All right. And then the last one. All right. This one pits two Latafas, one that is in some respects a powerhouse versus one that is kind of under the radar, in my opinion. That is going to be from Latafa. We have Kamra going up against Latafa's Hayati. All right. Now, both of them are doing their take on something. One is more an inspired by, the other is, in my opinion, more of a direct attempt to do a take on it. As far as which one we've got here, as far as Kamra, that's doing its inspired by of Angel Share, Killian's Angel Share. It's not a one-to-one. It's probably 80-85%, especially now that I've really put nose on Angel Share, spent some time with it. I would put this probably 80-85%. It's definitely an inspired by, but it's not, in my opinion, trying to be a one-to-one of it. Versus Hayati, which, if I'm correct, is more of their take on Invictus, I want to say. So, between the two, which one? This is a tough one, because this does a really good job of it, of doing its clone on it, And Invictus is just a nice, fresh scent that just kind of works very well, especially as we're moving into these spring, summer months. Definitely works well. Camera is just, as far as sentimentality, this was one of the fragrances that I first got when I was really starting to move more into fragrance as a hobby, as a enthusiast, all of those fun things. And then it is, for me, just a nice intentional date night fragrance. The booziness of this, my wife absolutely loves it. She calls it her cinnamon toast crunch. So from those two, it's kind of close. All right. But I'm going to edge it out right now to Camera. Camera is going to be edged out in this particular battle, just because it still, I think, is a very special fragrance. The Hayate is very good. I've thrown it on. It's a nice, for me, just running around, just, especially as we're getting into the summer months, definitely works well for that. But the Camera right now, for me, just takes the win in this one. So in this matchup, we have Camera. All right. So I'm gonna put up now number 2, or group number 2. But if you haven't already, make sure you have already hit that like, hit that subscribe, requesting notifications. That way, when I drop group 3 and group 4, you're already notified. You can be on the same page as far as this battle royale of fragrances in celebration of March Madness. All right, we're going to get down to our, this will give us basically our second group of 8 matchups. You already saw what was in group 1. Now we're going to rock with group 2. All right, first up, as far as the matchup here in group 2, we've got Supremacy Afnan Supremacy, I should say, versus Mancera's Cedrat Boise, however you want to pronounce it. Now, what's interesting about this, again, just a reminder, I didn't choose these. I simply let AI set them up. Supremacy is definitely doing its take on Creed Aventus. That's what it's supposed to do. That's what it's going after. Cedrat Boise, I don't believe many have attributed to. The DNA is kind of in there, but I don't think it was trying to go as a one-to-one. This is just kind of a different take on. I don't even call this an inspired by. But Cedrat Boise is definitely kind of in that vein, if you will, if that makes sense. All right. So between the two, you already know. You already know, if you've been around my channel for any length of time and you know how I feel about Mancera, you know how I feel about Cedrat Boise. This is the clear winner. Now, Afnan Supremacy, good job. It's not, to me, it kind of opens very sharp sometimes. May just be how I'm feeling that day, but it opens kind of sharp. In fact, when I first smelled it, it opened very sharp. And so taking all that into account, Cedrat Boise is smoother to me. It definitely does what it's supposed to do, and scent profile is one of my all-time favorites. I will probably have a bottle of Cedrat Boise in my collection at all times. That's just how much I appreciate that one. So our first battle goes to Cedrat Boise. Next battle, from Armaf Club de Nuit Intense Man, going up against, from the House of Prada Luna Rossa Black. All right. Now, this one admittedly is newer into my collection, so this is kind of an underdog in some respects, versus Club de Nuit Intense Man, which is also another one that is doing its take on Creed Aventus. All right. This one is very, forget all the things that are this, but this kind of is more of a powdery, to me, intentional type of fragrance. This is can be a daily wear. Again, kind of goes in that Creed Aventus style in that framework. All right. So when it comes to these two, which one am I leaning towards? It's close, but we're going to go with the Prada Luna Rossa Black. For me, this, just as far as the fragrance, longevity may not be as much as what we might want as far as beast mode, but for me, because it is an intentional fragrance, the scent profile is what kind of gives me, leans me more towards this than over the Intense Man. Intense Man is not the best one of the Club de Nuit line. I forget the other one. I think it's the limited edition that really does a very nice job of it. This is a good one. I don't want to dismiss this in any way, shape, or form, but for some of you, this might be an upset. But yeah, this one, good. But I'm going to go with the Luna Rossa Black right now. All right, so that's our winner for the second one. The third one is really just a couple of, if we're putting this into March Madness kind of basketball terminology, these are probably Division I AA schools that are competing from the house of Fragrance World on their Minister of Oud line, not Ministry of Oud, but their Minister of Oud line. This is Greatness, and this is their take on Initio's Oud for Greatness. Versus from Banana Republic, this is Dark Cherry and Amber, which I describe this almost as like a poor man's watered down French Defense. All right, decent performance on both. Two different scent profiles in many respects. This, of course, you've got the spice in there, what have you. This, you have the cherry, and cherry is not a fragrance that, or a note that I like everything, because especially like the Tom Ford cherries, I'm not really a fan of. But this cherry, I do appreciate, I do like. Now, if I'm comparing these one to one and saying which one is going to win out of these two, I'm going to go with the Dark Cherry and Amber on this one, just because it is, in my opinion, just unique enough that kind of edges it out for me between the two. That Minister of Oud Greatness is still a good one. It's not the best Oud for Greatness clone that I've smelled or put my nose on, but it's a decent job. It does it pretty good. But just in comparison between this and Dark Cherry and Amber, I'm going to go with the Dark Cherry and Amber as the winner in this particular battle. All right. Next one is an unknown for some of you. I think I may have mentioned this one time on my channel, versus one that is coming back into play, especially because of the weather. This battle is between Lattafa's Blue Oud, which is a fruity oud, not necessarily as potent as, let's say, Oud Maracuja or something along those lines. It's more fruity than oudi, right? It's more fruity than oudiness in there. Coming up against from Coach, this is Coach Green. Now, performance between the two is going to be about the same. They both perform about the same, which is not overly long, probably about 5 to 6 hours, maybe a good 7 hours. As far as the scent profile, you have both of them having more fruitiness than anything. This one, though, has the kiwi that kind of gives it almost a tropical vibe, a tropical feel, versus this, which is just straight fruits. All right. Between these two, which one's going to win? We're going to go with the Coach Green. Coach Green, to me, is definitely something that should advance to the next round. It is a fragrance that definitely the scent profile and how it does it is very good. So we're going to go ahead and give it to Coach Green in this instance here. All right. Next up in our battle, again, this is our take on March Madness, my take on March Madness, I should say. From Paco Rabanne, or just Rabanne, we have Victory Invictus Elixir. Going up against from French Avenue, which is a division of Fragrance World, we have Spectre Ghost. This doing its take on Nichene's Ani. Decent performance. I was a little disappointed, if I'm honest, by the performance of it. I've let it macerate. It has gotten better as far as its performance, but it's still not 100% there. Does it project well? Yes. Does it have nice sillage? Absolutely. The longevity just isn't there for me as far as what I would want it to be. Going up against one that, as far as Rabanne's Victory Invictus Elixir, this definitely performs well. It definitely projects well. It lasts a nice long time on my skin and on my clothing. And so you can kind of probably see where this one is going. It's close. I definitely like this, definitely appreciate it. But for our winner, this is going to be Victory Invictus Elixir is going to be our winner in this matchup. All right. Two more. All right. Next up is from Lattafa. We have Assad Bourbon, which is a newer release that came out late last year. This is what I would call if Lattafa were a designer fragrance, this would fit right in as a sweet designer fragrance. Good job The bourbon is not the bourbon that I was expecting. I was expecting, when I first heard the name, I was expecting more of a boozy bourbon, but it really speaks to the bourbon vanilla. So just a little disappointment there, but it still is a good fragrance. My number 2 as far as the Assad line from Lattafa. Going up against, from the house of Joe Milano in their Game of Spades line, it is Wild Card. Wild Card. All right. This is doing its take on Lafayette Street by Bond Number 9. Does a pretty good job of it. Lasts long, projects well, sillage is good. This is probably as close to being a 1-to-1 as you could get without being a full-on 1-to-1. This is probably, in my opinion, 95 to 98% of the way there. So between the two of these, again, I definitely appreciate the Assad bourbon, but Game of Spades really it's actually probably in there as far as being one of my overall top clones, period. So it's a runaway for this. Not saying that this is bad. This just, if this were going up against something else, if the Assad bourbon were going up against something else, it could probably win out. But this is, in my opinion, a juggernaut when it comes to the fragrances that I have in my collection. And so therefore, this is the winner. All right. All right. And then as far as our next one, as far as our last one in this round, so we did round 1 or group 1, and we're doing group 2. So in this round of group 1, group 2, this is our last one. So this one is from Lattafa. This is Lattafa's Atlas, which is doing its take on Eau de Précis Megamare. Very nice aquatic fragrance. Performance, beastly. Projection, beastly. Just everything about this just is up there, right? This is one that is a room filler and a room clearer outer, if that makes sense. This one is potent, if you will. All right, 2 sprays, 3 max. Anything over that, it's a problem. All right, but that is going up against, from the House of Yeoman Lael, this is Razi, which is their take on Mind Games Jadoo. For me, and this is one of those that it's a toss up, and this is where kind of my bias is going to come into this a little more. These are both good fragrances. This actually will be worn a lot during the summer as well, just because it does a good job of doing what I want it to do. But Mind Games Jadoo is probably my number 1 fragrance from that house. This right here does a very good job, a very good representation of it. And so therefore, this was one that it's close, but my personal bias is going to cause this one to win. So in the winner here is going to be Yeoman Lael's Razi, as far as the winner between it and Atlas. All right, that's it. Hopefully you stayed with me this entire time. Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know if there were things that you would have been like, nah, Kevin, I would have chosen this over that. It's perfectly fine. We all have different noses. We all have different choices. We all have different ideas. But let me know kind of what would have been your, let's say, top ones that you would have had out of what I just did there. But that's it for this one. Again, do me the favor, stay safe, stay sane, stay smelling good. And then, of course, as always, do me the honor, hit that like, hit that subscribe, request notifications, and share, because you definitely want to be around when I do group 3 and group 4. And then when we move, getting down to our Sweet 16, our Elite 8, our Final 4, and then our championship round, as far as which fragrance is going to win out of this March Madness series that we're doing. All right. Appreciate you. See you next time. Be blessed. Peace.